My name's Nathan Garner. I'm the project manager and tech support team leader here at Dynamic CCTV. Today I'm joined by Tony Lannon, who's the technical sales manager at Veracity, and he's going to be going through all the Veracity product range that's available at Dynamic CCTV, and he's one of the ones that knows pretty much all there is to know about the Veracity equipment. So he'll take over from me, and we'll all learn together some new products and some extra things that we didn't know about the Veracity equipment. If you could take over there, Tony.
Yep, certainly. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. I've got quite a few slides that we're going to go through. As Nathan's already suggested, we're going to take Q&As as we go to make life simpler. So please feel free to ask questions as we're going. Nathan will reiterate all those across to himself. We'll answer them. Otherwise, sometimes you have a question about the beginning and don't really get there till the end, and then you forgot what you wanted to ask. So we're quite happy to do that today. So as I say, I'm the technical sales manager for Veracity in UK and I. Veracity, UK business, been going quite a while now. We're a global entity as well. Most of you on the call are already aware of our products. We have key family products, which are on the screen, High-wire range. So I mentioned High-wire today. We're talking about Ethernet over coax, outreach, long span. We're then talking about Ethernet over Ethernet, long distance Ethernet. And then we have time servers and some installation tools as well. So rather than me letting you look at a screen you've probably already read, let's move on. I brought all our High-wire families down. This slide deck, by the way, is available to anybody who wants it, Nathan, and you've got a copy of that if you want to PDF it down and send it out to them.
Yeah.
Or we can do that whichever way you want to do it. I'm not going to go through these first slides. I'll let you see that the range is there, so you can have a look just how vast the range actually is. There's probably a lot of products in here you've never seen before. There's a lot of products in here, I've no doubt as we're going, that you're going to look at and think, didn't know you could do that, which I get those sort of calls on a daily basis. So as you can see, the range is quite vast. Range, as I say, Ethernet over coax, Ethernet over Ethernet, Ethernet long distance, 820 meters, for example, on Cat6 with PoE. Fiber to Ethernet converters. We do a range of switches, which are all pretty much designed for our industry. We do installation tools, PoE injectors, Rackmounts, etc., as well as our NTP servers. So without further ado, let's go into the first set, which is Ethernet and PoE over coax. Now this is our High-wire product, which a lot of you will be aware of. This product's been around now for a long time. This is sort of our bread and butter product. And as you can see, it's no PoE on this device. If I go to all the diagrams, we're going to probably settle more on the diagrams today with everybody, just so as you can see how this fits together. The most questions we get, whether it be from channel or from our distribution line questions, is all about how does it fit together? What does it look like? And obviously, as you guys, most of you guys are engineers, it's easy to look at the diagram and say, yeah, get that. And the good thing about the diagrams is it's got the part numbers on there as well. So in this instance, as I say, this is a non-PoE device. This is our High-wire point-to-point. Notice there's always two products on our transmission range, point A, point B, if you wish. Anything you see in blue as a connection to a switch on the diagrams is data only. If you see it in red, you know that there's PoE there or it's available. So this is, as I say, this is our High-wire, two 12-volt power supplies on either side in this capability, and away you'll go across your network. So what I always say to people is, if you don't need PoE, don't buy the PoE product. It costs you more money and could cause you, down the line when you're on a decent sized site. That could be the difference of winning or losing the job. So we're always here to advise people. We're always here to do designs for people if you're not quite sure what you need, and we'll do that for you. Obviously pass that through Nathan. We'll pass it back to Nathan with full kit list of what you need, etc. And we do calls and chats anytime you wish in order to go through that. So let's move in through to our next High-wire product, which is Powerstar. The interesting thing about Powerstar, it's got a lot of nice installer related pieces to this. So this is a PoE device, again point to point. It's even got on, if you look on the screen where my pointer is now, it's even got a direction where you can send the power. It'll tell you which direction the power is actually running. So as you see, there's a base end, there's a camera end, and we have what we call a safe view, which is a diagnostics on the side of it. This is very handy. You get to a lot of sites, all sites, you plug something into your coax. Well, is your coax working on a legacy site? Is it not working? Good thing about this is it'll tell you when you've got your link up when you've connected them together. It'll also tell you if there's any data running over it. It'll tell you as well how many watts of power you've got at the bottom. So these could be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 watt increments. That's critical. Sometimes you can spend hours and hours and hours and not actually realise that your cable weren't working in the first place. It's a great test tool as well. Plug it in, tells you it's there, tells you it's got power on it, how much PoE you've got at the end, which is always critical. So this is how this is put together. You can have PoE from a switch or an optional power supply. When I say or an optional power supply, you can't use both, otherwise you'll overload your unit. So PoE from a switch powers the first Powerstar, second Powerstar, and the camera at the end. And what's interesting on these is distances. And as Nathan will profess, I've no doubt that a lot of questions we get is how far can we go with this product? Over what type of cable, etc. Yeah, I think we've had quite a few of them, Nathan, in the last few weeks.
Yeah.
So this particular model will go 300 meters on RG59, 500 meters on RG11. All of these distances, etc., on each screen. I do have a slide later on where I'm going to show you some differences and variations as well on different types of cable. And again, all of these are available on our data sheets, all the distances, etc., how much PoE you'll get are on there as well, with various types of cables. So we try making your life simple. So our next product is our Powerstar backbox version. Now this is Powerstar backbox. This is more or less the same piece of kit we just looked at the Powerstar. What we've done is we've listened to people in the channel having problems trying to get the bend radius sorted out, if you like, in the camera backbox. Part of that is we've changed the leads on these. So if I flip back a couple of slides so you can have a look. This product and this product is the same. Same safe use, same power in and out. The difference, like I say, is some backboxes on some cameras are small. You can't really fit the Powerstar in there without damaging the cable in the back of it because of the bend radius or the BNC, etc. So we've made them flexible, so they actually do fit very nicely now into any backbox. And again, this is how they're put together. Distances are exactly the same. Again, PoE or an optional power supply. Our Powerstar Duo. So again, note on the front, we've got the same style of safe view on the side, so you've still got your diagnostics on this particular product as well. But this time this will give you 2 cameras or 2 Ethernet devices on the end using the same technology. So what I'm going to say to people is always have a look at how many watts you need from your camera at the end, because don't forget, if you put in PoE from a switch, in most instances you're putting 25 watts down there. That's got to power the first Powerstar base, and then it's got to power the Powerstar Duo and your cameras. So have a look at what that wattage is. If it's going to exceed the wattage, so I would suggest you use this product here we've just highlighted, which is our 𝐕PSU57V800. That'll give you extra power down there to make sure you've got enough power at your camera cell. Just 2 things, as I say, it gives you that power. Make sure you get the power at the end of it, which is what's important. There's nothing worse than putting a connection through and then realising you don't have enough watts to run the power you've actually bought. This is the quad version, exactly the same. Again, same diagnostics on the front, apart from this time you can put 4 cameras on. Showed you a different way of wiring it this time, because you can actually put the power at the camera side if you've got power at the camera side. This is using the 𝐕PSU57V1500. That 𝐕PSU57V1500 will give you 78 watts. So that's split between your cameras and powering that device. So again, critical in most instances. So that swiftly moves us into our Powerstar Base 4. So what we can do here, you can use this as an encoder replacement kit. But before I start talking about this, just let me move into the diagram so you can see how it fits. This is a great product. We do 2 flavors of this, a 4 and an 8, so base 4, base 8, which I'm going to show you in a second. This is not powered by PoE. It's powered by 2 different power supplies. You choose which one you want, depending on the wattage, again, as I said, for what you need at the end point. So you'd have a data connection from the switch into the Powerstar. That's a gigabit port that's on there. We've got a fibre SFP on the back of this as well, if you want to use fibre across your network. And then obviously you've got your 4 coaxes going into your Powerstar, which are in the back box of your camera, and they'll in turn power your camera. So if you put this in real life terms, you go to a site which has got an old DVR on, you can plug the BNCs off the DVR, you plug it into this device, you put a Powerstar in the back box of your new camera, and that's it, you're finished. The amount of time that actually saves you on site from man hours alone is a massive cost saving. And obviously the more you save on your installation, the more profit you're going to make at the end of it. And at the end of the day, let's be honest, that's exactly what we're all here to do, to make more money. So I mentioned then that we could actually use this as an encoder replacement kit. If you've got any old encoders out there, you plug this straight in exactly the same manner as I've just shown you on the previous slide. Base 8. So as I said, we've got an 8-way version of the base 4. I'll flick again through to the diagram so you can see again. So same scenario, DVR, unplug the BNCs, plug it in this, put your power in, plug it into your network, put the Powerstar in your back box, plug your camera in, and away you go. So very easy, very simplistic way of doing things. But again, it's all about TAM on site, not replacing cables, etc., etc. This is an absolutely first-class product. This is the screen I talked about. I was going to show you some distances and things like that with various power budgets. Okay, so look on the left-hand side, you can see the different types of RG59 that are in the marketplace. You know, whether it be copper-coated steel, whether it's 20 org, 22 org, etc. This is quite vital that you understand what you've got. A lot of times, you know, there's a mix and match on site, so you need to, you know, do need to be aware of that. The good thing is this will give you how far you can actually go over each cable, how many watts of PoE you can get from a switch using this product, or if you plug a Veracity power supply in, what the difference is. And as you can see, there's an amazing amount of difference across the range in different cables that you think are the same thing, but obviously they're all different. But again, go back to and refer to our data sheets. We do have on all of our products, all of these power budgets, and we also have on the distances, etc., etc., with all the information you could ever possibly need to aid you in that. And again, if you don't know, pick the phone up, send an email, we'll answer your question for you. So we've moved on to a tamper-proof version of this product, and we call that product Link Lock. So it's a Powerstar Base 8 Link Lock. What we actually have on this is more or less looks the same product until we actually go to this slide. Now, the good thing about this is we've actually designed this to be tamper-proof, so it's secure. You know, what's this? Prisons, banks especially don't like putting RP cameras outside because obviously, you know, somebody could get a lead into the network at that point. The whole idea of this is this particular product is got relays on the bottom, as you can see on the bottom left-hand side of the screen. Okay, that can be tied into a VMS if you've got one. And basically what we can do with this is, if you look at the wall down the middle, that'll be the end of your building, products on the inside. Anybody touches or tampers, unplugs or tries manipulating this cable at all, it will lock the link down onto the port internally. Now, that can be reset, as I say, from a VMS, or you'd have to change the pins on the back if you're not using the VMS and return it to site. It's obviously going to be charging for that for yourself, so that's always good news. But more importantly is the message of this. Is each leg individually is protected, can't get through, there is no way into the network, and that's a massive selling point with the majority of your customers who do have reservations about people getting into the network just by getting onto the Cat5, Cat6 type cables. So that then brings us into the long range Ethernet over coax with PoE. This is our Longstar product. A lot of people don't really get a lot of calls about this. This is generally used on rail networks, things like that, lift shafts, because of the flexibility in the cable when the lift's going up and down, for example. This is a massive selling product worldwide. As you can see, it's BSN EN 50121-4 compliant, and you get to say, cracky, what does that mean? Well, basically, what this means is this, you can use this anywhere on the rail network, apart from signals. You can use this in London Underground stations, for example. But more importantly, I look at it more simplistic than that. I look at this product as if you're doing anything in the perimeter, for example, or you've got posts in car parks, and your Ultron towers, things like that, cameras on, and you need to get at them. This product will go 1.2 kilometers with PoE and give you that connectivity. That is a vital product. And again, if you've only got a couple of cameras on, 2-3 cameras on, you can use it at longer distances, that, as you can see off the screen. And off that is 4.2 kilometers on a 10 base T network, which not a lot of people look at today. You know, people think that's finished and it's gone, and it really hasn't. It's still there, and it's still a technology, and it still works. So if you can utilize it if you need to get, you know, greater distances. On the screen now, as you can see, this will show you how it's connected. So you can have, again, Ethernet or PoE, or power supply connected into this. It's an either or option again, okay, of where you've got to power this. And again, you can see on the screen exactly how that's connected and what connects where. So we have a light version of this. So anytime during this presentation I talk about light versions, that means there is no PoE, data only. And again, as I said earlier, if you don't need PoE, don't buy a PoE device. Keep it light, it's a lot more cost effective for you. And again, all this light version, as you're looking at now, the Longstar Light is still Rail Metro compliant with the same distance as everything else. Quite a useful piece of kit. So this slide is going to talk, we're going to talk about different variant things. I'm not going to dwell on this because we're going to touch on some of these products further on. We've got PoE power supplies, high wattage. We've got 90-watt power supplies, .BT compatible power supplies, PoE injectors, mid-spans, call them whatever you wish. We've got rack mounts. As you can see in the middle of the screen there's 4 base 8s in this particular one. That's run by that 1U rack mount, gives you 32 connections on the front. So keeps everything neat, everything in order. It's got diagnostics on the power supplies. You can probably see just underneath my pointer now at the back. Then we do inverted flush rack mounts for individual power supplies. We'll do 1U rack mounts for high-wire range as well, whether it be high-wire or high-wire Powerstar. So we've got a multitude of accessories that are available to people.
We've just had a question come in, Tony, just asking what the surge protection is on the PSUs there as well.
And there's anti-surge built into the rack mount PSU. The PSU's at the side, same as anything else. In fact, when I go further down on the slide deck, Nathan, I'm going to show you where we recommend you put surge protection in place. Okay, so you take steps obviously on analog to RP network as you generally would do with everything else. Yeah, where is it vulnerable? Where's the points of what you need to put on? But again, I've got slides to show you that in a second. Okay.
Yep.
So that moves us now over to our Ethernet and PoE extensions. So the first product in that family is our RecReach Max. This is line fed. You can't put power into this apart from PoE. This is great view. You're going above 100 meters and you want to put another 100 meters on that. Just plug one of these on the end. That'll take power from the switch. That'll power this device, and then that will give you another 100 meters, etc. You can series wire these as well, so you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. If you're going to go that far, you're going to put 4 in. My recommendation is to use our long span, which I'm going to show you in a second, and you'll see the reason why, because again, that would save you money. The interesting thing about this product is the fact that this will carry high wattage. This will take 60 watts, can carry that 60 watts up to 200 meters. Not a lot of products in the marketplace can do that right now, but this will. That's how it fits together. As I say, line fed, PoE from the switch, powers the device, which in turn powers the camera. And again, you can series link that as we go through. Same applies again, got an RecReach Light. So people are going to say, oh, it's light, there's no PoE. So I'm going to show you the diagram. So PoE from the switch powers the device, and then the second leg of that device is then data only. So again, quite a useful product, a bit of a mix and match if you wish, to make your life a lot simpler. We use a lot of these, a lot of people, in the marketplace, where they've got barriers, gates, etc. At the end of a long driveway, use this type of thing to add that extension in. But you can always go on 100 meters from the switch, a further 100 meters from the device at that point in power, or not power in this instance, what's at the end of it. So this is RecReach, so we call this a Max G. What's the difference between this and the one I've just shown you? The fact that this is a gigabit, everything else remains the same. This will take your wattage though, saying it remains the same, this will actually take your wattage to .BT compatibility and will carry the 90 watts over that distance. So if I go to this piece, so you can see the diagram, why I'm wittering, make your life a bit simpler so you're not guessing. Again, you can series link these in situ if you like. One will power the next, which will power the next, which powers the own device. So quite a useful bit of kit. Obviously, in this instance, you'd need to have access to that cable in the first place in order to do this. And again, we do have a product which alleviates the need for short jumps, and we can give you much larger jumps, as I suggest. So this is our XT version. Exactly the same product, apart from this is now in a weatherproof housing. Okay, so this is an RP67, as you can see. It comes with glands inside, etc. We even now in the box when you buy this, you'll even get a spare packet of glands and grommets. We did this because a lot of people, engineers, up a ladder, it's in the cold, it's in the winter, you tend to drop grommets, can't find it, and you just put it in anyway, and obviously that's not going to work. So we put extra ones in there now. Again, we do listen to what our customers tell us. This is great in ducting, on the soffits, running through warehousing, etc. Because again, it's RP67, it's completely waterproof. Pull it into a duct, it's not an issue. And again, this is a very, very high selling volume product for that very reason. This is our GXT, so external gigabit. Again, same product as before, but this is the gigabit version of the same product. Works exactly the same way. I'm showing you a different way on the screen now of actually powering that with a PoE injector. Because sometimes you can't get that to a switch, to a PoE switch, or there's not a PoE switch around that area. You can use data only. Use the outsource, plug that in locally. That'll empower the GXT and the device at the end. Now, a lot of our diagrams have cameras on, ladies and gents. What I'm going to say to you is, if any of your products, any product you want to fit has got an Ethernet product at the end of it, an Ethernet link connector RJ45, this product will, and all of our products will power that. So whether it be wireless access points, whether it be NAS devices, whether it be today, I mean, we're selling, what are we selling today? We're selling PoE monitors, for Christ's sake, you know. On any of these things, as long as it's in the criteria and fits within the power budget, this will power it. So what I'm trying to say is it's not just about cameras. This will power anything that has got an Ethernet connection on the end of it. So that moves us into our long span. Our long span range is extremely popular. Distances we can achieve with this product, I think it's quite phenomenal. You can go 820 meters, as I said earlier, on Cat6 and still give you your PoE. We can use 1 per, 2 per, or 4 per cables on this. So if you're on some sites where you've got, you know, a legacy cable there with a multiple cable connection on it or a loom, you can use 1 per. You're not going to get PoE off 1 per, but what you're going to get is a data connection. 2 pers, 4 pers, we can give you PoE. Again, safe for your LEDs. Sorry, my apologies. Skipping through here and not giving you the right information. So on the side of this here, where my pointer is now, you'll see these bars. These bars are our safe view again, which is all on the High-wire products. Okay, so they'll light up different colours if you've got a problem. In Quick Start Guide, all the information is in there about various colours and different sequences, etc. It'll also tell you how much PoE you've actually got in the device once they're connected. So again, very powerful piece of kit. So Nathan, the question we had earlier about where do we put surge protection, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Okay. Now if you look at these now, we've got point 1, point 2, point 3. Okay. That is where we suggest you put surge protection on our products, especially if you're in a vulnerable area. You know, I mean, we're a global company. You know, in places like the Middle East, for example, there's lightning storms and all sorts of things going on, you know, so they get a lot of rain strikes, etc. So it's important that these things are used. Some people use them, some people don't. Obviously, whoever's asked the question has probably had a problem in the past, and that's, you know, which is a good question, by the way, I have to say, because not a lot of people consider this in there. I can send you a list of what we recommend for surge protection, give you quite a few offerings, Nathan. I'll send that through to you and you can pass that through to whoever asks the question.
Yeah, I'll send that out, yeah.
Yes, certainly. So what we've got now, so again, same scenario as we had with the High-wire. We've got a B end and we've got a C end, base end and a camera end. And again, it doesn't have to be a camera. It can be pretty much anything you want it to be to connect to. So optional power supplies, all PoE from the switch. And again, like I say, it's an either-or situation and not both. What I will say is if you put a power supply on these products, you'll guarantee that wattage at the end point, because that's going to boost the power and the strength for the signal, because it's higher power, obviously. So that's something to consider. That's not Veracity trying to plug in more power supplies. That's a saying. If you want to make sure you've got a doubt or anything else about your cable, put a power supply on, and that'll enable you to get exactly what you want. So we're back to a light version again. So, you know, there's a bit of a pattern forming here. We've got, you know, PoE devices, we've got non-PoE devices. This is a non-PoE device. Again, same distances can be achieved on this. And again, Nathan, I want to point out that the surge is on the diagrams where we suggest that you put your surge protection. The light versions are powered by 12 volts. Okay, that's important to remember in case you look at our 57 volt range. These are powered 12 volts. And again, as I say, I found these diagrams really useful for people who are new to our products, even for people who've used our products for years, if I'm quite frank with you. Because again, you're not guessing what's going where or how it plugs together, we're actually showing you that. This is a long span light with a long span max quad, which we haven't got to yet, but I'm going to leave it there, and I've left it in here deliberately in this position because it moves us into that position in the next few slides. We notice that is a long span light, okay, at the beginning, so data only. If we power that at the end point, so that could be in a column, for example, or on a perimeter, and then we can power the max quad there and maximize the power you're going to get out. I'm not going to talk about power on this slide just yet, because I want to talk about that when I actually get to the max quad slide itself. Surge protection's on here, as you can see, 0.1, 2, and we've got all the 3s down the side there, just the same. So that moves us through. So this takes us now into long span max Basin camera. This is a brand new product. You've probably not seen this before. This is now available, obviously, from Dynamic CCTV and does a multitude of things. You know, we can now deliver 60 watts, 200 meters, 40 watts at 350 meters. This is a bit of a game changer for the marketplace and for our industry, if I'm quite honest with you. So it's 802.3 BT compatibility. Okay. A lot of people always say I need 90 watts at that end. So just so we're clear, you get 90 watts at the starting point and you get 71.3 watts at the CPE, which is exactly the .BT criteria. Okay. So long span max at the beginning. So not a long span, but a long span max. And the reason it's a long span max is you can pump more power into this one from the starting point. And the good thing about pumping more power in at the starting point is that will achieve higher wattage, and we can also run the unit at the end as well as the cameras or whatever's plugged into the backside of that. And that's up to 71 watts, as you can see on the screen. So again, bit of a game changer. Distances and everything else for that, Nathan, I would suggest that we talk about that. We do have a calculator, but we'll share that calculator with you as well, so you can have a look at it. You put the right product in and you can change meterages, etc., and how far you need to go after the end device. It'll tell you if you can achieve that and tell you exactly what wattage you've got. So again, that's a very useful tool.
Yeah, it'll be great for some of the newer PTZs that are coming out that are using that high speed.
Precisely. So it's fitting into that new technology side of the marketplace, if you see what I mean. So just again, the quad version obviously is a full port, works exactly the same way as well, as you can see. And again, we can power that with various power supplies. I'm going to show you these power supplies shortly so you can see what you've got in order to plug into them as well. I'm showing you the long span quad again, Max. This is the slide we had on before, 3 or 4 slides ago. So I brought it back now because now it's pertinent, if you like, because we did the other piece. So this is now long span light working with the Max quad. So we've now mixed and matched, whereas in once upon a time we didn't mix and match our products, but now we can. So we can have that data over your 820 meters, your Cat 5, 6, 7, etc. But then if you've got the capabilities of say powering it at the endpoint, always recommend you do that anyway. But at least then out of this you've got extremely high wattages, and you've got that 71 watts to split amongst your cameras or what other device you're plugging in. The interesting thing about what I've just said is that takes us extremely well into our next product, which is a long span base 8. So we've seen the high-wire base 8, and how that works. I'm going to look at this long span base 8. Now, when you first look at that, you just think that's an 8 port. It's a switch. It's not. So what we've got is 4 times 70 watt ports, 4 times 30 watt ports, and again we can achieve the same distances over this on the back. It's a gigabit port on this as well. For your cameras, and as you can see there on that diagram, which is very nicely done, I have to say, because it does explain it pretty well. You can have dual ports going back into that. You've got your 8 ports coming out, and don't forget you've got 4 ports at 70 watts, and then you've got your 4 ports at 30 watts. And so you don't put one of these in the middle of a building somewhere where you need high wattage, PTZs on corners of buildings and things. This is a bit of a game changer again for the marketplace, because as Nathan pointed out just now, most of the marketplace now is moving multi-turret cameras, PTZs, which are doing all sorts of tricks these days. They're all high wattage. They're all high watts. A lot of multi-turrets are 25 watts, but there's multi-turrets out there at 52 watts. Some PTZs at 52 watts. A lot of PTZs out there are at 70 watts. So this is an ideal product to fit into that. And again, that plugs into a long span, which will give you the capacity then of going whatever distance it is that you need to get to. But again, you let us know what you need. Tell us the distances, we'll tell you what kit you need, etc., just to make life simpler. So we then move into a fiber to Ethernet converter. Not a big product as in the fact that lots of people talk about it in the market. A lot of people don't know we do this in the market. So a lot of our products that we've got on here today, it's not widely known. Perhaps we need to do a better job of marketing, Nathan, together. And this is our Lightspan. It's fiber to Ethernet converter, SC connection for your fiber. So if you plug fibers out your sockets, etc., that'll plug straight into this and you plug it straight into your device. Quite a newish product for us, but again, it's there if you need it, and you can go up to 1.24 miles with this, as you can see at the bottom. This is how it all fits together. Power supply on both ends, fiber link across the bottom. That'll take you both sides, Ethernet to fiber back to Ethernet again. So again, that's out there. It's available. Lots of people do use this. A lot of people putting fiber in warehouses these days, things like that. And I want to break out back into a local switch, for example. So lots of uses for this. So that brings us to our network solutions. So the first thing we're going to look at is the CAMSwitch 4 Plus. CAMSwitch 4 Plus is an 802.380 compatible device, as you can see on the screen. It's what we call a 4-in-1. Okay, so 4 PoE ports, 1 non-PoE port. One back in your network, you still got your 4 PoEs. So I'm going to go to the diagram. And again, I'm going to show you a way of doing this. You can still power this with a power supply if you choose to, standard Molex connectors, or you can use our outsourced 30 PoE injector to power it as well. Now, again, what I'm going to set you is, depending on what you're injecting it with, size, in this instance on the screen now, that's a 30-watt injector. That's going to run the switch and the 4 cameras. So again, bear in mind how big you want, how many watts you want at the end, do the calculation for your total wattage for the site, and then you know exactly which injector to choose and put in there so you can achieve what you want to. More importantly, your cameras will turn on at the end, and when you've left start, the IRs are going to come at the end of the night. So quite an important bit of step. So we have also got a CAMSwitch mobile. Very useful piece of kit, actually. Use this in a lot of places where there's no power. Buildings away from factories and things where they generally store things and going to use it for something else. But there's no ducting, you can't get in there, there's no anything. This is the ideal product. It's 12 or 24 volts, as you can see. We do a 4+1 and an 8+2 model. All right, and I'm going to show you the next slide because I don't want to sit on this one. I want to show you where and how this works. So what we've got there, if you can see, in this instance, we're showing you a mobile MVR. That then would connect to the CAM switch. We've got a battery there. This will connect to a solar panel. The solar panel charges the battery. That charges the CAM switch, which in turn turns all of your products on at the end of it. I did a big project with these a couple of years ago. Big volume. Going through hills and dales. I'm not going to tell you it was for, but if you're going through the hills and dales with a water company where they've got little doors in the hill with a big part with a valve on it, is right. How do they monitor this? And they have to monitor this. So what we did is we got the CAMSwitch mobile deployed using solar panels. So they got access control and door. They've got a camera inside looking at the valve, and they've got a little 4G dongle there as a router, which then sent it back to their control room. So a lot of uses for this. The reason I've told you about that is just to prompt your brain into think, well, I didn't know I could do that. I can do it here, I can do it there. But anyway, you generally don't have any power. This is an absolutely ideal machine. All the obvious one, obviously, is in vehicles, taxis, wagons, etc., etc., etc. So that takes us then to our installation tools. I have to say, I'm a big fan of our installation tools personally. I do use these myself when I'm doing things on my network. Pinpoint. So when you look at the pinpoint, and I think what I'll do actually, Nathan, so you'll have to forgive me, mate, because I should have had a conversation with you this morning before the webinar. I'm going to give you guys 15 of these to give away, okay? At your own discretion for people who's joined us on the webinar today, and I'll get them sent across to you. You'll have those early next week, and you can dish them out as you see fit.
Yeah, we'll okay. Randomly and pick them from everyone that's attended the webinar to give out.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me show you how this works. This is a great tool, I have to say. Don't forget, I used to be an engineer myself once upon a time. I know I'm old now, but I can still do them a bit. This is great for actually coming into a network. How do you actually get and test the camera on the network when nothing's running really in particular? So you've got PoE coming out from the switch out to your camera. You want to configure that camera and you want to do everything you possibly can. Save you going back twice. Plug this into the Cat 5, 6, 7, whatever Cat version it is. That will power the device from the PoE from the switch. That will in turn power the camera. That plugs into your laptop, your iPad, or whatever you're using, and you can configure the camera with it. Very, very useful. Not just about cameras. It could be access points, no matter what it is. But that'll give you access to the network and the GUI of whatever piece of kit you're working with. So very, very simple, very easy, great idea, I have to say. In order to do that. So once we've done this product, became quite popular, I have to say. And then we get asked, because obviously, we're all driven by mobile devices these days, why don't you build a wireless version? So we go away and we build a wireless version, and this is what it looks like. So this is our Pinpoint Wireless, okay? It's driven by power over Ethernet, as you can see on the front. PoE in, you've got Wi-Fi on it, which will go back to your device. Also our CamPoint app, which is free, iOS and Android. So if you want to go and download that and have a look at it. Again, line fed from a switch, takes power, then turns the SSID on the device, which can go back to whatever wireless device you want to configure, whatever product you've got plugged in the end of it. which is being driven obviously by the PoE from the device. So again, very useful device to have in your toolbox. So that moves us into our bigger installation tool, which is our Point Source Plus. As you can see there's a battery that goes in the back of this. Yes, you can buy spare batteries before anybody asks the question. You get 6 to 8 hours continuous use out of this, okay? This has got a link in for your network, and then it's got PoE out for camera or whatever device you're using. And it also, on the front, I don't know if you can see this here where my mouse is now. You can plug your mobile phone or your iPad or whatever device you've got into there and keep it charged while you're doing it as well. This comes with a big thick strap, pulls it over your shoulder. Great at the top of cherry pickers and things like this, okay? But I'm not going to dwell on this particular one. So that's what it looks like. That's how it actually runs. So that will provide PoE from the battery to your device, and that will let you plug in your laptop or your, so you can enable you to get in the GUI, whatever you're looking at. So, saying that, we've now gone a bit further, yeah, because we seem to do these devices, you know, start simplistic and then think, you know what, this can get better and better and better and better, and this is a great family of products. We're on this particular version, it's our Point Source Wireless. So it's got all the features of what we just described on the last slide, with the added benefit now that this has got, like the pinpoint wireless, has now got its own SSID. So, you know, what do we use this sort of thing? So, what I generally tell people is, you know, we all go to sites, we've all been to sites over the years, we get a cherry picker, we go up, put the camera up, network's not in place yet. 1, I can't configure the camera. 2, I'm going to have to get another cherry picker at another time, which costs more money. So the idea of this is go up the cherry picker, put the camera on the wall, plug this into it, it powers the camera, you log into the GUI on your iPad or whatever you're using at the top of the cherry picker, configure the camera, unplug it, plug the network back in, and hopefully when they turn the network back on, that everything's going to be hunky-dory. But the difference is then you're not having to go back to site, you're not having to get the cost of another cherry picker because you didn't quite get the right view of the camera angle when you was up there. You know, you can do all of that with this. It's a very, very, very useful piece of kit. That moves us then into our PoE injectors. This is our 𝐂𝐸𝐴30. We changed this product last year. It had a revamp, if you like, or a refresh. This is a 30-watt mid-span injector. Has a multitude, absolute multitude of things. You know, we get a lot of people using these, believe it or not, who have no PoE at doors and an all-analog network for putting access control in. They're actually using this type of product to actually get the door controllers on. You know, we do an outbreak, which will give you 5 or 12 volts, for example, to put your door loops on. So we do all sorts of these nice little NAS where you can't really per se get there on a general upgrade on a site because you don't want to change the cabling, etc. So very useful products. This is our 𝐂𝐸𝐴90. This is a brand new, just come out in Q4, same as the long span Maxes range have just come out in Q4 this year. This will give you .BT compatibility. As I say, it's a 90-watt injector. That will give you, at your kit, well, the CPE, that will give you 71.3 watts, which will do all of the .BT family, BTZs, etc., etc., etc. So again, great device, very simple. Everything is moving in that direction, ladies and gents. And if you're not looking at that type of device, you will be very soon, I can assure you, because the whole industry is moving in that direction from all the manufacturers. So that moves us on to power supplies. All power supplies are 57 volts. In this instance, the one on the screen there is a 100 watt PoE supply. The next one we've got is a 240 watt PoE supply. And don't forget, we have the rack mount at 500 watts as well, which will power a multitude of products. But what I'm telling you is we have a whole family from 30 watts all the way through up to the big stuff at 500 watts. So anything you need, we've actually got it, without a doubt. Now, this brings us on to our network time synchronization server, or our NTP. So this is what we call a TimeNet Pro. Strictly speaking, I've been doing this a long time, worked with networks personally, myself since 1988. It's a long time ago, probably longer than that actually. Everything needs a time source. Yeah, Nathan's laughing there. I don't know because he knows I'm old. Everybody needs a time server. Generally, you know, you buy an NVR for cameras, blah, 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 whatever it might be, up to 1,000 cameras. Doesn't matter. These devices have got to get the time from somewhere. Okay. A lot of people won't use time. You know, then they get a mismatch. They have an incident, goes to court, gets thrown into court because the time's not match. Okay. This little device here comes with an aerial, obviously. That aerial doesn't, by the way, 30-metre aerial, doesn't have to be outside. It actually comes with a sticker. You can stick it on a window inside. It looks a bit like your sat-nav used to work in your car, you know. Picks it up, starts to go in, and away you go. Picks it up through the window. This is what we call a Plenum 1 device. So the time accuracy on this thing is phenomenal. I don't know how many zeros it is. It's something like 0.00007 of a second accuracy. It picks up satellites as they're coming around. That'll change on the number of days, but I think finally you're guaranteed to get at least six satellites, up to 12 satellites at any one time. If you've got multiple sites and you've got site connectivity, this one device will work across all your sites. So you don't have to have one on every site. So again, we're not here to take your money away. What we're saying to you is this is a great device. This will do everything. Your cameras, your MVRs, your NAS, your SAN, your servers, your workstations, your PCs, your VoIP phones, everything. We'll take this as a time source. Everything matches, makes life a lot simpler. You know, how many NTP sites, Nathan, for example, are on now, and 2 hours are off for a day, and then they come back on again.
Yeah.
You know, people are using Google as a time source off the Windows PC. Yeah, try logging into Google. You know, I've no doubt I've got PCs in front of me now. I've got 2 sat in front of me right now with different times on.
Yeah,
and they've got different times on because you get drift. Because if I try connecting to Google, my Windows 10 machine goes to Google to get the time. You can't connect, so it doesn't bother again for another 4 weeks, and then it does the same cycle. So eventually, you see this in a lot of call centres. We'll get a lot of complaints, in call centres with people, and they'll say, him sat at the side of me is 3 minutes faster than me. He's showing 5 o'clock, and mine's only 3 minutes too. And he thinks he's got to sit there for that 3 minutes because he's on time and attendance and so on and so on. And what that is drift. Yeah, if you can't connect, you get to Google, you can't get the time source, and it won't check again for 4 weeks. It might do that for 12 months and you don't realise it. But you only realise it when you look at your watch and it's a different time on your PC. So this is vital, but in our industry, this is critical, I have to say. So that moves us now back over to you, Nathan.
Yeah.
And we'll take any questions as we've got them.
Thank you, Tony. That was spot on.
Sorry it was a bit rushed, because obviously we've had a lot of slides and not a lot of time. So do apologise.
It was spot on there. There's definitely a lot of detail in there that you covered that will be a great help to our customers and for ourselves as well going forward. There's definitely a lot of information in there. I think that pretty much covered everything from our point of view. If anyone's got any questions, make sure you put them in the Q&A. Myself and Tony can get through those as they come in. Roger's just thanked us for the webinar from that, but I think you were pretty in depth there and explaining everything, Tony. So I think you don't think many people had many questions because you were spot on there throughout that.
We do try, Nathan. We do try. Sometimes, it's a bit much. Sometimes, when you try and explain real life about real situations, people tend to get it a little bit better. Where it fits, how it works. Why should I use this? But like I said earlier, at the beginning and all the way through, we're here to help people. As you know yourself, you can direct it through you. You can come and direct it through me, but I'll always pass it back through to Nathan as one of your customers. But we'll answer all your questions. We'll help you do all your designs. If you're not quite sure how to do something, or you need a kit list of a big site, we'll put all that together for you. Send it you back. It's right. It's going to work. You've got enough wattage, more importantly, for each one of your cameras. So we'll help everywhere we can, obviously.
It's the best thing we can do for our customers, give them all the help that they can have. But thanks for taking time to do that for us today, Tony. And I'll be in touch with everyone that's been on the webinar that's lucky enough to get one of the pinpoint units. You've happily supplied us there, but thank you all for joining us today. As always, if you have any questions or anything like that, please get in touch with us here at Dynamic CCTV or with Veracity directly as well. But thanks for joining us today, and we'll hope to see you again on the next webinar in the future.
Thank you, everybody.